So we just did a candlelighting. We move on. May the soul of Rachel rest in peace. Hi everyone. I would say much, but my name is Ellie, representing the Train Inspire team. The last moment we had with Rachel was a moment that was full of promises. She really appreciated the projects of the Rashelle and women. Rashelle promised us 5 months mentorship. We were so over the moon knowing that our projects are going to take a notch higher. Like someone is really appreciating our efforts as young women and girls. We danced. She made promises. She asked for forgiveness. She laughed. And the last thing I remember from Rashelle is insisting that I should go back to school.
Come to your left, center.
And the news that
come
we
to your left.
We've lost Rashelle,
Come to your left.
I saw it as if we've lost. In a way, we've lost our future. That is what I felt then, because I was like looking around and saying, who will still hold our hearts as young girls and women? In the process of all this, Rashelle was also teaching me to rapporteur. And then tell you for a fact I'll go back to school and still rapporteur, just to remember and to uphold what they are saying. May I spoil rest in peace, and I know this is something that all other girls wish they would have said. I still don't have the strength. I'm sorry, but I know as time goes by, we will need to accept this and move on. And I'm very grateful. Thank you all.
Thank you so much. One thing we knew about Rashelle is that she loved and supported the education of girls.
Such as our younger sister here, feeling encouraged to go back to school. Rashelle was one of the best rapporteurs we had in the continent. Bilingual, French speaking, English speaking. Actually, it's more than bilingual when you start including, our local languages, right? But now I'm talking about the global arena where she played. Some of the things I've seen people say online about Rashelle, as African feminists, she really wanted to make sure Francophone feminists were always included and they didn't feel left out in spaces. So even if you are in a space where we did not have interpreters, she would make sure she was doing the interpretation for that to happen, right? Fawe, do we have Fawe in the room? Just acknowledging the organizations. Femnet. I've seen a lot of Femnet colleagues. Led by Rose. Yes, Rose, George. Please, could you, is one of you going to speak? Okay.
I'll just speak from here. Maybe feminist colleagues, you can stand up. Okay, there's not much space, if it's okay. I think it's really hard. Femnet colleagues. Femnet is not standing up. Okay, I think it's still very heavy for us just to think of Rashelle. I'll just say 4 things about Rashelle. Rashelle loved Ellie, and her whole life was about Ellie. I remember she would call and say, Ellie is going to school, Ellie is going to high school. She only wanted the best. And at Mildred's 50th, she came and she's like, look at Ellie. This is this big man wearing a bow tie. So I think we'll always remember how Rashelle held very highly her son, but also showed us how to pour love, even as a deputy parent to the other siblings, the sisters that she had. So I think that's the first aspect of Rashelle. The second one is her work, her professional work. She was in Femnet as the bilingual membership liaison. So she did a lot of work mobilizing African women across the continent and beyond. Rashelle was always smiling. She would always cover the gap for us. I remember at the African Union when we had no interpreters, and she was in that booth interpreting for so many. And we've been receiving so many messages from across the continent of the people she interacted with. She was passionate about women in leadership. She did a lot of work with the Women Must Lead to make sure that women are in political spaces. And one of the things that I remember, we had women from DRC. Rashelle loved a lot of working on women and peace and security. And women from DRC came, we had like a 24-hour window to mobilize. There were negotiations happening here in Kenya. And we had 24 hours to mobilize to have women leaders from Kenya to support the delegation and the women from DRC. And Rashelle was there because we needed bilingual. She came up, she showed up, and she carried the work. And this year we had friends for DRC, and Rashelle, as part of her foundation, was also working and continuing the work with the women from the DRC as well. So we remember Rashelle very dearly. It's surreal to say remember, but I think we have to also celebrate her legacy and the footprint that she had on the African continent. I also remember you mentioned how Rashelle loved Ankara, and we had a convening in Ghana, and she was with Dorothy. And was it with you, Ade? Yeah, but they went to the market in Ghana, and they brought all manner of Ankara. The kente. They're all colors from purple. And I just remember Rashelle carrying sacks, and we're like, where did you get that? And she said, I want my curtains, I want to put Ankara on everything. So I'm like, who puts Ankara curtains? And she's like, no, you have to see what I want to do. So she had a very strong Pan-African heart, and I think we'll always remember Rashelle. She was also a member of Femnet. So from the community, we celebrate her life, and we really know that her legacy and her footprint will continue. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Memory. Equality are here earlier. Esther from Equality Now was here earlier, and she left a message for us to just read. Mildred can read part of it.
Let me try without my glasses. Pray for me. So I'll go into this part where Esther says, Equality Now is a global feminist organization. And so Rashelle worked with the Pan-African office based in Nairobi. We all worked there with her, right? So this part where Esther says, and so in July 2025, we had the double blessing of working with Rashelle twice. The last engagement was for a consultancy on 29th and 30th. You see, that's July. You see, when my colleagues and I agreed to engage her, she enthusiastically confirmed. But when they reached out to her to send her invoice for the previous engagement that would enable us to issue a new contract, we learned that she had just lost her dad. She called him her friend. But Rashelle, being the strong femininja she was, told us that she would still come and support the meeting. We were unsure about this for so many reasons. Was it fair for us to actually allow her to just come? Was it morally okay when she has been bereaved? Is it feminist for us to allow her to come? So I asked my colleague Liz to speak with Mildred, myself, and ask whether it will be okay. And Rashelle insisted she was okay and needed to be there for us because not much was happening in Shags at the time anyway. We all agreed that it would be good for her to continue if she feels strong. And she showed up in the meeting with backup, being the Rashelle who organizes. She didn't go alone. She showed up. Where's Fanny? Yes, with backup to support her work, who now, they did this work very well. So we thank Equality Now. They say in her strong, bold, calm, and enthusiastic fashion, Rashelle showed up and was absolutely amazing. She led the meeting in recapping our previous day, very captivating, perfectly bilingual nature. It was amazing. Little did we know that this would be her last professional engagement, because if it was 30th, then 2 days after, she had gone. So, yeah, this is just a brief message from Equality Now. Esther.
Thank you so much, Mildred. That's the assignment I was referring to. I was doing the facilitation, and Rashelle was doing the rapporteuring. And so none of us would have imagined that we would sit today and be talking about Rashelle not being with us. So it's been hard for a number of people, but I just want to acknowledge the blessing, really, the blessing of Rashelle having that moment to say goodbye to the continent. It wasn't just Kenyan feminists that were in that meeting. We had representation from virtually almost all the countries in the continent. I would like us to move along a little bit more because we started a bit late. And we've started doing this now, you know, but to open it a bit more to other people to talk about the Rashelle I know or I knew. Because I'm saying I know and I knew because some of us are still struggling with whether to say the one I know or the one I knew. And all is fine, yeah? A few people had indicated they could speak, but if at any one point you want to share anything about Rashelle, this would be the moment. Anne, will you open for us? The Rashelle I knew, or the Rashelle I know. The Rashelle I knew actually bought me this fabric as part of my birthday gift last year. And I remember discussing with Mildred and saying, I'm never too lucky with fundis, but I'm going to make this into something that signifies freedom, because that was the theme of my birthday. So I wore this in celebrating Rashelle today. Anne?
Thank you. So memory, that sack of Ankara formed part of our birthday gifts. Should gift it generously. I still have quite a few that need to go to the fundis. Yeah, so that was Rashelle gifting us, loving us, spoiling us rotten. I'm a neighbor. My name is Anjoroge. I'm a neighbor from Wado Apartments, where she lived before she moved to Ruchwa. And when she came to Wado, she found me and Mildred there, and Helen. And the truth, happy with it. So she let them be, and we loved her more for that. She was a very personal friend, and even when she moved to Ruchwa, which is near my church, I would walk from church and spend the afternoon with her. The Sunday afternoon was our special day, and would have a girl afternoon talking about everything from her training here, her PhD, her class, how she was going on with that, her family, Ellie, and parenting, everything. And at 4 o'clock, she would have her online home fellowship. Rashelle loved her church and her home fellowship group. Yeah, everything would come to a stop until the home fellowship was over. Then we'd continue our chat. And it was kind of therapy for both of us. We would make decisions, would plan ahead, and we got to be very close. So that Saturday, when we heard about the news about her dad, Mildred and I went there to cry, just to be with her, to allow her to cry and to cry with her. And I would never have imagined that that was the last day I would see Rashelle, because the week after that I had many funerals. And on Saturday when I got the news, it was a really big shock to me. I'll come to terms with it. And as of now, I'm just grateful to God that I got to meet someone like her. Yeah. She was very special, much younger than me, but we formed a very strong bond. And the challenge to me and to the women here, she loved education. She challenged everyone to go back to school, do more with your life. And that's the challenge, my take home for having been her friend. Thank you very much. God bless you.
I would like to invite, no, Louis? I know it's very hard. It's very hard. So when you see me hesitating when I'm calling someone, and if I call you and you feel it's not the moment, it's also okay.
Good afternoon. I'll try. You know, I've been sitting here and I'm seeing Rashelle looking at me. I'm saying, oh yeah, this is better now. Yeah. I'm sitting here and I'm seeing Rashelle looking at me, and I can hear her calling my name, Lois Marty. You know, the way she used to say it. Then I'm seeing her coming to hug me, and I'm like, my goodness. It's unbelievable. We've come such a long way. I knew Rashelle 25 years ago with some of my friends here, Paris Kamau, Kalunde, we have Maureen. So we're in campus together. We're in Marcelo together, and I've forgotten her name. We're in campus together. So, apart from the campus life, so, I mean, we came to Nairobi, and I have a lot to say about Rashelle, a lot. And I remember when I cleared campus, I went to Paris, and then Rashelle came to live with my mom, with Kalunde, and they became family. And I came back, and Rashelle has always been this girl that would do anything for you. I mean, when Melody was talking about Rashelle, and I'm just like, we all know Rashelle as this lady who is all-rounded and would bring all of us together. Through her, I've met these powerful women. I remember when Mildred was celebrating her 50th birthday, and Rashelle just sent me the invite and told me, Lois, whatever it is that you have planned, cancel everything, you're coming for Mildred's birthday. This is where you need to be. And that's where I met Kina Saida and all these very powerful women, And just the other day, when ZP, one of our college mates, was doing one of her things on Foolish 40s, Rashelle would just tell me, Lois, I've booked your Saturday, we are going for this thing. And this is a girl that I was lucky enough to live close to her. I have seen Rachel basically almost daily. We've talked almost daily. And even just before she died, we had spoken like 5 or 10 minutes before, such that when Mildred was calling me that Rashelle has collapsed, I thought I was dreaming, or I thought she was crazy, because I'm like, I've just spoken to her, And yeah, she sounded really low, and I was telling her, let me come pick you up and take you to hospital. Like, no. In fact, I'm at the door, and Ellie has just called for an Uber. I'm like, no, let me come. She's like, no, Ellie has called for an Uber. I'm like, okay, so once you get to hospital, I'll be there with you. And then Mildred calls me that she's no more. That killed me. And I felt so bad. I kept telling myself, I wish I was there to hold her, because I've had episodes where Rachel has been there. She's been in my life for the longest. When Melody talks about Rachel being that bilingual girl, we could go to the barbers together. And we want to talk about something in there, and you don't want them to understand. We quickly switch into our French. The other day, Paris lost her dad. And we went to see Paris. So we take an Uber on our way back home. And we had such a horrible Uber driver. He was very unpleasant and driving horribly. And Rachelle would quickly just switch into French, and we'd talk about this horrible Uber guy. So we did a lot of that, you can be assured, And when I look at her, and I've been going to the morgue to look at Rachelle, and, I'm just like, how am I going to live? How am I going to continue my life without her? Like, on Thursday, when they had that Polycom event, she was so excited about it. So I meet her on Friday. She calls me, Lois, where are you? I'm like, I'm in the office. She's like, you need to be working for our kind of organizations where by Friday we finish at 1 p.m. I'm like, okay, I will check out at 4 p.m. Let's meet in Yaya. So at 4 p.m. I disappear. I go to Yaya. We meet one of her very good friends, Dr. Zippy, and her sister. And then after that, she's like, let's go, I buy you dawa. So we go to Java. I have a class. She's like, your class, you'll just join in virtually. You listen on one ear as I tell you about the event that they had the day before, So she's telling me about Milio Diambo and how the Polycom girls did an amazing job and what she was able to do with Daraja Letu Foundation. And also honored to be, I'm a member of the Daraja Letu Foundation. I was really humbled when she asked me to be one of the advisory guys. So we talk about that. And then we talk about her dad. And then she calls Olivia, her sister. And they talk about her father and the plans that they have. And she calls the doctor. She talks to the doctor. And we started Java Yaya until 9:30 p.m. So then I take her home. And then on Saturday, in the house, she wakes me up in the morning. So she had class at 6. I had class at 6:30 every Saturday. So she'd wake me up. And then we attend our class. So we're done with class. And then Rachel calls me at around noon. And then, so she's crying, but I thought I heard like someone was laughing on the background. So I just picked the phone and I'm like, Rachel, what's funny? And she's like, Lois, my dad. And I'm like, oh my goodness. We just talked about your father yesterday. And here we are. So I'm like, where are you? She's like, I'm home. I'm like, I'm coming now. So I go to Rachel's house and we sit there. And we mourn the father, and we mourn her father. We talk and talk and talk. And I think I went back to my house at around midnight. And then, and Rachel would keep saying, it is well. It is well. That was her mark. And I'm thinking, my goodness, this is a lot, And then voila. So in the week, we talk about anything and everything. And Wednesday, she's telling me she's feeling a bit unwell. And Thursday and Friday, and I'm like, my goodness. She's like, Lois, I've not slept. And I feel like she's so low. And then I'm like, okay, let me call the doctor. I sent her to the doctor. And then Saturday, so Paris, my friend, and Truffy were planning to go and see Rachel to just tell her Paule about her dad. So Truffy calls me, and she's like, Lois, let's go and see Rachel. So I'm like, no, Rachel has not slept. she was feeling really low. Let me just check with her if she has the energy. You know, so I called Rachel. Rachel is like, no, you know, I've not slept. And I'm like, okay, let me come take you to hospital. And she's like, no, Ellie has called for an Uber. And that was it. You know, when I think about it, and I'm like this is a girl that I've seen for 25 years, and basically almost every day of my life, and how she loved me with her everything. I mean, on that Saturday when her father died, I remember when we were there and some of her many friends had come home, and then she's introducing us, then she says, this is Lois, my ride or die, but we don't want to die. And then a week later, you go just like that. I mean, it's really painful. It's so painful. But may God give us strength. And may we just remember how kind she was to all of us. I mean, I think I've eaten in Rachel's house more than I've eaten in my house. You know, it's unbelievable. But anyway, may God hold us. May He keep us. And may He rest her soul in eternal peace. You know, I just look at her and that smile, and I'm like, my God, I don't know how we're going to do it. But here we are. Yeah?
Thanks, my dear.
Thank you, Lois. It is well. Could we say it is well? Thank you so much for sharing. Yeah? A lot of us keep referring to Rachelle's. You see, it's difficult for me to call her Rachel. I just knew her as Rashelle. That's how I called her. So we keep talking about her French, her French, her French. Even when I was talking to my niece, one of my nieces reached out because she knew Rashelle. And she said to me, all I can remember is just how much she spoke French. Yeah? And so I'm told Mrs. Amunga is in the room, Rachelle's French teacher, the person who introduced Rachelle to French. Please let's appreciate her. Okay. Yeah, if you can come to the front. You did a really good job with Rashelle. Thank you.
Wow. Normally I'm very courageous and I'm a very strong person. Until this. I don't know how many of you usually remember your teachers. I don't know how many teachers usually remember their students. I've had many, but this was one very special one. Oh God, sorry. I met Rashelle as a Form 1. Her elder sister was my colleague in Kipsigis Girls High School. And you know the way you get a child in your class and this thing just clicks. You know, for us French teachers, teachers of French, it is possible to pick out a child who has that Frenchness, you know? She has the tongue. And you can tell this one has it, this one doesn't. This one I'll have to do a bit of work. For her, it came naturally. She was an easy student. And right from Form 1, all the way till 4th Form, I knew I had an S student. It's just a way you know. And in Kipsigis Girls, we were known those days for two main things. For drama and for handball. We were a powerhouse. Girls knew that every year they would go for French drama festivals, and we would win. And you know, it was beautiful because the best actress would get a ticket to France. She got it. In 1999, she was the best actress in the nation, and she went to France. And when she came back, she told me, "Madam, I went on your ticket, but I must go back on my own terms. French must be my way of living." And I tell you, this girl has carried my French all around. I'm a celebrity because of her. I walk on the corridors where French is spoken, and I hear more of my students than myself. I look at the lives that she has touched with this French, and I say, wow, it's a beautiful thing I met her. I have done many students, but not many have remained my friends. This girl was my friend. Rashelle would call me to check on me. She would call me to say, "Teacher, there is a soda for you," because the French you taught me is putting bread on my table. She would call me and say, "Madam, I'm a bit broke. I needed some money. Could you please lend me some money?" And can you imagine? It would come out so easily. And she would, I don't know what kind of a relationship this is, but I know I've lost a friend. Not just a student, a friend. And I pray that God would uphold Ellie. That's my grandson. She did a fine job. I pray God upholds my colleague. Oli, may God strengthen you. Just send you loads and loads of grace. The family, that the Lord strengthens you. All of us that Rashelle touched. She changed her name to Rashelle. She learned that it is Rashelle because of French. She was Rachel before she became Rashelle. So you can imagine it has stuck. And as much as we have lost, heaven has gained. Thank you, Rashelle, for being in our lives. Thank you, all of you, for becoming my friends because of Rashelle. May God bless you.
I would like to just check in the room if there's anyone else who'd like to speak before. I also know there are some people who came in after we'd started. Welcome. This is a space to celebrate Rashelle. It's a space to feel. If you're going to other spaces where you feel that you can't feel freely, please do so in this space. And I want to thank you once again for being there for her at this moment, and even while she danced and sang and spoke, you know, amongst us. Do we have any more before we come to you?
Good evening. My name is Awat. I worked with Rashelle at Femnet, and I've stood because I call myself a feminist, and people ask a lot, and yeah, we worked together. I think a lot of times we worked together with Helen and Mildred, myself, and Rashelle. I'm among the last people Rashelle spoke to after she lost her dad. Rashelle called me when she needed a car to take her home. And she was like, Awat, I want to go home. Can I get a car right now? And the next word I asked, what type of a car do you want? I need a cab to go home right now. I think that was the very day the dad passed on. And now as I was struggling because she had been, not the first time she was looking for me, the other time I had also even driven her to her village when she had gone to see the dad. So I knew even the dad. So when she lost the father, she spoke to me, and before I realized it, I think she got a flight ticket and found herself in the village. The next minute, I was looking for Rashelle. She had just arrived back. And we never spoke again. The only other thing I got was when somebody called me, a friend, our common friend, Michael, who is not here. And Michael was like, what has happened to Rashelle? Then I told, but Rashelle is in the village. She went because of the demise of the father. Then Mike was that, please, can you check with her? And I was like, hey, Michael, what is it? I'm in a meeting. I was at Safari Park. So Michael was like, please just check with Rashelle. I know you speak a lot. Just check with Rashelle and check what is happening. And I told Mike, please let me know what you want me to check with Rashelle, because I'm in a meeting and you're not telling me what has happened. And I know Rashelle went to the village because of the demise of the father. So the next person I called, I actually didn't call Rashelle's number because I know how Rashelle and Helen and Mildred relate. So if I don't talk to Rashelle, I will call Helen. If I don't call Helen, I will look for Mildred. So I called Helen immediately. And the next thing was Helen was crying. And I asked Helen, what is it that I'm looking for Rashelle? Someone has called me to talk to her, but I can't call her. What is it? And Helen told me, we are at the morgue. Please come over. Yeah, so that's a sister who we only talked, and we were planning to go and say goodbye to the father. But here we are today. I won't say may her soul rest in peace, but may God comfort all of us. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you so much. And just for us to sit with that and just remember the family. This is quite heavy because the father has yet to be laid to rest, then the daughter is also called. So it's double pain for the family. Yeah. Ellie, I'm told you'd like to speak at this point. Please do.
For me, to say the least, all of this feels like a horrible dream. Somebody that you've seen the day before, just there, just feels like a horrible dream. But one thing that I know is that she died in sorrow. She didn't die happy. Me being the last person to handle her and to take her down the stairs where she collapsed, she died in sorrow. Although it pains me a lot, but she died in sorrow. Though I tried what I could, just couldn't. just couldn't. It was just her time. But one thing that I appreciate for her life is that she'll push everyone, be it me, be it anyone. She'll just say, although it's hard, but you just keep on trying. You just keep on trying. Remember those times where she'll just send a book that I've forgotten at home? She'll just sneak in some random note in between the covers. It was always positive things. Ellie, you'll be okay. Just keep on pushing, just keep on trying, just keep on trying. So right now the only reason why I have this strength is because of her, because I know this is somebody that was very dear to all, not only me, but to a lot of people. So the only thing I can do right now is celebrate. Although, like, I just couldn't do anything. Like, ata kama ni jaribu, ata kama ni I call, just couldn't. Like, it was just her time. So right now I just have to accept the fact that she's gone, and now I have to adapt to what exactly will happen after this. Because herself, if something bad will happen, she'll tell me, Ellie, you just keep on trying no matter what happens. Ata kama jaribu tu, ata kama itafail, we jaribu tu. But right now, she's not there, and I have to be strong for her, because she'll also be strong for me. The times where I'll wake up depressed, wake up like just tired and don't want to keep on going, she'll just say, Ellie, we jaribu tu. Jaribu tu. Ata kama it's hard, we jaribu tu. So right now I just want to thank all of you guys for showing up here. I know all of you guys had other plans, but you've created this time to come here. I really appreciate it. Not only for me, but for all of us, for all of us as a whole. So, what I want to say is that, Rachel, Ouko, rest easy. You've suffered enough in this world, rest easy. You've suffered a lot. The amount of times I saw her, the sleepless nights, told her, Mom, you go and sleep. Mom, you go and sleep. She'd be like, no, I have to keep on trying. I have to work, because now let her just rest, because the problems of this world are too much for her to handle. Like even that time when she woke up, you could see something was wrong. You could feel, you could see something was wrong. Though she kept on trying, you could just see something was wrong. The way she talked, the way she walked, you could just see something was wrong. Kitu ilimshika kwa moyo, like yo kitu ilimuuma kabisa. So at least now I'm happy that that thing, whatever it was, it's no longer affecting her now. What we have to do for her sake is that we have to keep on going, because we cannot be in one state forever. Especially the work that she's done cannot be in one state forever. The one wish that she want us all to do is that tuendelee. Be it all the work that she has done, be it Daraja Letu, be it the feminist work that she does, you just have to continue without her, because even her shouldn't be happy that every hard work that she had is just pouring down the drain as if nothing ever happened. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Ellie. Sometimes it's okay not to be okay. And this is one of those moments. So from me to you, someone who called your mom and she called me Dada, that's how we refer to each other. I'm not going to say the words be strong. I want you to know it's okay not to be okay. And this boy, we have to support. You've heard just how much Rashelle loved and supported education of young people. We must, for me, I'm saying this as a friend, knowing that there's many friends in this room, there's family as well, but I'm now speaking to the friends, the sister friends that are in this room and outside. We must make sure Ellie feels supported, for sure, goes through school, and makes himself proud, you know? He has to make himself proud because the rest of the work Rashelle already did. Yeah, so what's left? Let's see what we can do to support Ellie. We're about to close this segment of the Rashelle I Knew. So I'll have Glo speak, and then I'll check. Just put your hand up if you'd like to speak for a few minutes before we have Mildred close, and then we'll go and light the candles downstairs because we couldn't do it inside the room.
Hi everyone, once again. I'm not usually a crier, but my aunt's death has really affected me. But I would like to just read a message that she sent me to her friends. So I am a journalist, a video journalist, and normally sometimes I do like some fancy cards online using Canva, and my aunt knew that. So when my grandfather died, as you've heard from her friends, they all stormed her house. I remember that particular day, I was hosting a friend. So when my Auntie Rashelle was trying to call me, I was up and down, so I missed her call. But then when I called her back, somebody else from the family had already told us that my grandfather had died. I think she was trying to call us to tell me that my grandfather has died. But then when I was calling her, she told me, I'm here with my friends in my house. We are making tea, we are drinking tea. I think it was Mama Nuru and some other friends. And I was like, wow, when did they get there? Because you were calling me a few minutes ago. So when she called them, and they heard about my grandfather's death, they all stormed her house. So when she finished with them, she traveled to Oshago the next day, which was on a Sunday. And when she came back, she sent me a message. So one message was meant for the people in Oshago. But then the other message was, so I'll just read it as it is. So she said, please also do a thank you note to Helen Apila, Mildred Ngesa, Catherine Gitahi, Lois Mbati, Zipporah Bundi, Makabe, Steve Wesonga, Mama Jere. Mama Jere is the lady who used to help her at home. Feni Ogendo. They quickly came to my house on hearing of the news, gave me warmth, and even Helen and Feni slept over at Ruchwa. Helen and family took me to the airport at 5:30 a.m. I was overwhelmed by their love and comfort. Also do a thank you to Daystar University and especially PhD in Development Studies family led by our HOD, Dr. Mogute. They've been pouring so much love to me. I'm grateful. So she had asked me to do a thank you note to all of you. So I'll still do that because right now I think I have all your numbers, the people I've mentioned. So I'll still do the thank you note. But I think one thing about my aunt, she really loved her friends. Yeah, she loved her friends. When I was starting, I mentioned that I've lived with my auntie almost all my adult life, I think. Almost all, not all. Because I think I started living with her when I was in Maseno in 2015, around 2014-15. So she used to live in Kisumu. I was in Maseno. So she used to call me every weekend, come, I take you out. Come, I buy you things. Come, I do this. Come, I do this. And Ellie was really young. Like, he was so small. And he used to love tantrums. Ellie used to love tantrums. And I've heard so many people here saying that Aunt Rashelle loved Ellie, and I can attest to that. She loved Ellie to the extent of quitting a scholarship that she had gotten. I think it was in 2017. When we moved from Kisumu to Nairobi, she sold everything. She sold everything in Kisumu, and she was like, I'm going to Nairobi to start afresh. And I remember even Ellie saying goodbye to the seats, goodbye to the TV as they were being taken away when the mom sold everything. And the reason why she sold everything is because she had gotten a scholarship, I think, to do her master's in Cameroon. And we moved to Nairobi, and we stayed with Auntie Olivia for about a week or two before we moved. So now, I used to call her Mama Ellie, I like calling her Mama Ellie. So Mama Ellie went to Cameroon for the scholarship, but guess what? 1 week later, she was back. She texted me and told me, I'm at the airport, I'm coming back. And I asked her, why are you coming back? She told me, I can't leave my child alone, I'm coming back. So she quit her master's to come back and be with Ellie. And she told me, I will still do my master's, but I can't do it right now. I have to come back and stay with Ellie. So as you all know, she has traveled different parts of the world. She has traveled all over the continent. And one thing remained constant. Every time she lands, she wants to talk to Ellie. So anyone who was staying with Ellie at that point, you have to be on standby because she will video call you. She'll call you on WhatsApp just to talk to Ellie. And she would even make sure that there are people in the country who can help you in terms of anything Ellie whenever she's away. A few weeks ago, again, back to Ellie, she was renewing her medical, her medical cover. Again, because she was like, I don't want my child to suffer. I don't want Ellie not to have, the best medical care. So all her life, she's loved Ellie. Her friends have also come to love Ellie, which is amazing. It's good to see. And it's been, I think even for me, I'm still coming to terms with that. Because that day when I was called by Auntie Mildred and I could not believe my eyes because I had just spoken to her at night on Friday night. But then I told her, I'm going to call you later to check how you're faring on in hospital, but I never got to call her. I think I just got distracted and thought, I'll call her tomorrow, but then tomorrow never came. So tomorrow we were being called, come, and I found her lying on the floor, and I could not believe my eyes. But one thing remains constant, and Rashelle was a giver. So many of you have talked about Ankaras. We have so many. We have so many. Actually, about 3 weeks ago, it was my birthday, and she called me. She was the first person who called me in the morning when I was preparing for work. That particular day, I had a work event. So she called me when I was preparing myself, and I put her on loudspeaker, and she was there singing happy birthday and telling me, so what are you doing today? And I told her I have an event in the office. And she told me, okay, fine. I'll send my rider to bring you something. And I was like, it's okay. Just tell him, because I know the rider. Just tell him to call me when he gets to the office. But then it got to around 1 p.m. and the rider was not there. So I texted her and asked her, like, where's your rider? Then she told me, I'm actually coming to your office right now. So then she calls me later and she appears in my office carrying a big bouquet of flowers and some gift bags. She had so many things. And I was asking her, why are you carrying so many things? And she had so many things. And one of the things that she put inside one of the gift bags is an Ankara. So she really loved Ankara. And I remember scolding her when she told me she wants to make some Ankara curtains, and I asked her, who puts Ankara curtains in a living room? But then she told me, you wait, you'll see. So then she ended up getting different colors of curtains, but then the tie was made of Ankara, and she had Ankara outfits. Like when you look at her wardrobe, it's full of Ankara outfits. She loved Africa, she loved women, she loved color, she loved all those nice things, and she's been there for us, most of us. I don't know how many of you have aunties who you'll call and tell, I'm going to school, and she'll do shopping, everything for you. Because I remember when I was going to Form 1, she bought everything. Everything you can think about when someone is going to Form 1, Mama Ellie bought that for me, and she's done that for so many of us in the family. Even just a few weeks ago, she called me and told me, come to my house and pick diapers for Laura. Laura is the baby, the grandbaby. She used to call her grandbaby. The grandbaby, come and pick the grandbaby's diapers. And I rushed to her house, and she wasn't there, and I had to wait for her. And she was just like, wait, just wait, pick the diapers. So I think if I had not picked the diapers, they would have still been in her house, because that's the last time I saw her. So I think my auntie was an amazing lady. She loved all the networks. I was hearing all those names, Equality Now, FemNet, FAWE, Women in Leadership. I know all of them. At least I have met most of the people who've worked with her, and she really loved her work. She would stay on that, she had a desk. She even moved it to the living room so that she can just be working as the rest of you are doing your things. And she worked and worked and worked, and she also loved her PhD. The last time I saw her, she was just working on her PhD. The previous time before I saw her, she was now working again on her PhD. So she loved her work. She loved her school. She loved Ellie. She loved her friends dearly. And I know all of us are going to miss her, but I think we will all come to terms with it. But for now, I think we should just keep the memories alive, because I think she would be asking, like, why are you guys crying? She always told me, it is well, it is well. Even when my grandfather died, the first thing she told me was, it is well. And I remember on Saturday, no, she died on Saturday. Sometime in the middle of that week, I was sending them. They usually have a group for sisters, and I was added to the group because I'm the first granddaughter. So she told me, I'm adding you to the group because you're the older one. You need to see what we are discussing. And there's a video of our grandfather. When we went to see our grandfather last year, the last thing he told us was, trust in God. He kept saying it, trust in God, and I had recorded him saying it. So I had picked that part of the video, and I was sharing with the aunties just to tell them, let's trust in God, things are going to be okay. And when I sent it to her, for some reason, she couldn't open the video. And she told me, Madam, your video is not videoing. She used to call me Madam. And I asked her, what do you mean? I've just sent it. I had to delete it. But then she told me, send it to me again. And for some reason, I couldn't send it to her. But then one thing she used to tell us is, it is well. She loved saying, it is well, it is well, it is well. So for me personally, every time I'm thinking of her and why is she gone? What is she doing? She had just started working on her foundation. She had just started doing advocacy, and she was happy about it. So for me, it is such a shocker, but I think we will all just get used to the fact that she's not here. But I think all we can do right now is just keep her memories alive. And for everyone who knows Ellie, please pour some love to Ellie, because Ellie was his mom's favorite. I think among all of us, he was the son, he was the favorite. And I think right now he needs a lot of prayers and love, because this is not an easy thing. It is extremely shocking to him, but we do pray that eventually he'll be okay. Yeah, so to the friends, Poleni once again, I know it is horrible. I met all of you. All of you were there when she fell. It was really sad to see all your faces. Mama Nuru, poleni sana. And to the extended friends and workmates and everyone and family, I think we'll be okay. We are going to be well. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, you want to speak? So we can... Marceline wants to... Can I just see who else wants to speak? Because we want to close this segment of the Rashelle I knew, and then move down to light some candles. So let me see by a show of hands, and then... okay, and then we can try to be brief as well.
I'll be brief, thanks. To Ellie, pole sana. God comfort you, and we are here for you. My name is Marceline Nyambala. I first met Rashelle when she was doing some work with women governors. I think it was women governors, if I'm not wrong. And the next thing I heard, she was at FemNet. And there, we would interact. I remember we went to train journalists with Mildred and her, and Memory and others in Rwanda. And that evening, I remember she was the one who gave me my gifts. Then I think it is 2 years ago, Mildred and Rashelle, I was unwell, they came to visit me at home to encourage me. And again, of course, recently, we also did some work in terms of women's leadership when she was at Faraway. So when I saw the post by Millie that Rashelle was no more. I couldn't believe it until I saw from WhatsApp that it was confirmed. So we will really miss her. It is really, 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 I can say sudden, unexpected, and it will take time for us to come to terms, for me to personally to come to terms that she is no more. Our French lady, our feminist French lady, African French lady, we will surely miss you. Thank you.
Okay, good evening, everybody.